I'm famous for that, guys. I was talking away. You could see my lips are moving, huh? I'm horrible. I gotta remember to unmute or add myself to the stream. Oh, I'm bad with that. Hi, Winky. Hi, Charlie girl. Uh, oh, my granddaughter just got home and she's running up to me. Hold on 1 second, guys. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Cricket. Just bear with me. She just got home and so anyways, I look like a hot mess. It's hotter than heck here. I haven't been feeling well. I felt bad that I didn't do the live on Saturday, but I even felt worse on Saturday, so I apologize. I'm still not 100%. Yeah, you hear her? I even have my headphones on. I didn't think you guys could hear her. But I promised you guys it on Saturday, and I apologize that I wasn't here on Saturday. She's 2. Hey, Carla, Kayla, Puss in Boots, Kathy, Winky. I'm okay. However, I decided to vacuum my car. Me and my mom overheated. We were both nauseous and dizzy. Thank goodness it was towards the end. We both jumped out of the car. Yeah, it's been just as hot. If you can see, I'm very sticky, but my husband has to work in the morning and he's trying to go to bed and it's just crazy. So it's easier for me to do my live outside. So anyways, like I said, I apologize that I didn't do this on Saturday. Hi, Jewel. I just haven't felt good, but I'm here and we're going to do it. Hey, Truth, we're going to get it done, right? We're going to do this live. As you guys know, this is the live of the House of Horrors, the Turpin Family. I'm going to kind of chit chat with you guys for just a minute before I get into it, kind of let people pile in, and that way I'm not distracted by cuteness over there because her dad is about to leave and stuff. So they're out here, but they'll be going in a second. So it'll give me a second to chit chat with you guys and then we'll get into it. I have pages upon pages. I'm hoping it will take me a while. This was a crazy case to read into. This case actually really pulled on my heartstrings. It was just a sad case to cover. I mean, all the cases are sad, don't get me wrong. All cases are sad. But hey Peanut Pea, what are you doing? Yeah, is that Mama? Do you have Minnie Mouse? Hold on, I gotta shut off the camera for a second, guys. Sorry, she wants to come see me. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, like all the cases hit you. I mean, they do. Every case is. You were living in Cali when it happened. Yeah, I mean, all cases hit you, but this one, there was 13 children, and I mean, not even all children. Some were adults, and it just kind of hit me reading it. I can only imagine what they went through. I actually watched a couple of videos where one of the girls actually snuck a phone and she used to do YouTube videos without her families knowing. And it was really sad to watch. Okay, I can turn it back on now. Sorry, guys. I just don't show the baby on camera. I just What baby? What do you say to the buggy? Shoot fly, don't bother me. Yeah. Shoot fly, don't bother me. Sorry, that's what we sing to her I sing to her when a bug comes by because she don't like bugs. So I got her to sing, "Shoo fly, don't bother me," and they go away and they fly away, and she thinks it's the greatest thing. So, so as soon as they go in, we can get it started. Because, like I said, smart move, Jenna. No one needs to use. Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, hi, Jenna. Is this the family with Disney's photos all dressed up the same? Yes, Black Dahlia. This is that is the case where they did a lot of family outings and they dressed them all up together, and it looked like such a happy family. And it was far from a happy family. Hold on, I gotta let my dogs out now. Sorry, the dogs could hear the baby, and they haven't seen her because she's been with her dad. So they wanted to come out and see her, and now she's inside and they're outside and they're looking for her. It's too funny. So, anyways, now everybody's in. The dogs, I think, are settled for the most part. They're running back and forth, but they'll be all right. So let's get into it, shall we? Wookie, please, really, please go lay down. All right. Let's try to get into it. I'm telling you, this is my life. Okay. So we are doing uh, looks are deceiving. I don't even know what that's about, so I'll leave that one alone. Yes, dogs. If it ain't the dogs, it's the kids. If it's not the kids, it's the grandkids. If it ain't the grandkid, it's the husband. And I thought if I picked at 8 o'clock, my husband usually goes to bed at 8, and everybody kind of goes quiet at 8 because they know my husband has to get up early to go to work. So everybody kind of is chill and relaxing. And that is not the case today. Come here, whoa. She's already in the house. Okay. Calm down. Calm down. Yes, I love you too. Can you be a good boy now? Can you be a good boy now? Okay. Hi, CCK. Okay. All right, they're laying down. Let's do this. Winky, I heard the nicest person. Okay. All right. So, like I said, House of Horrors, Turpin Family. Let's get into it. The parents. David Turpin was born October 17th, 1961. He graduated from Princeton High School in West Virginia. He then went to college in Virginia Tech as a computer engineer. After graduating, he went to work for Lockheed Martin in Northrop Grumman in 1979. Now, this is I found weird. When I went to look up David, there wasn't a lot. His family kind of, hold on one second, sorry. Okay. So when I looked into David, there wasn't a lot to find on him. That what I found, what I told you guys is pretty much all I could get from him. His family didn't speak out a lot during all of this. His parents spoke, but basically the only thing that they said is that he worked and went to college. That was pretty much all they said. I could not find much on him. So Louise, on the other hand, there was a little bit more on her. Louise was born May 24th, 1968. Louise went to the same high school as David. She attended it until 1985. She never graduated, though. Yes, busy with life and stuff, I'm telling you. Louise had a tough upbringing. Louise's father was a pastor. According to Louise's sister, Louise and a cousin were sexually abused as children by their maternal grandfather. Louise's other sister claims that Louise's mother accepted cash in return for allowing their grandfather to sexually abuse them. The sisters also claimed after the abuse that Louise really got obsessed with witchcraft, satanic rituals, and Ouija boards. So basically, her father was a pastor, and what I've gathered is he was always in church. He was always doing church stuff, blah blah blah. Her mother, on the other hand, had issues, and she was basically taking money from the grandfather so she could drink and party, and he was able to have sex with Louise and her cousin for all of her childhood, for majority of her childhood. Now, David and Louise met when she was 10 and David was 17. They met in church. It was in 1985 when Louise was 16 and David was 23. They went and eloped in Virginia. Basically, David came, picked her up in the middle of the night, and they went and got married. She was 16, he was 23. Her father, who was the pastor was not happy. But it was done. It was over with. There was nothing they could do. They were married. Nothing. After that, David and Louise went on to have 13 children, 10 girls and 3 boys. They started having children in 1988. And they went on. Sorry, that was my bug zapper. And they continued to have children until 2015. So from 1988 to 2015, they ended up having 13 children. They kept having children because God called them to do so. Family members also said that David and Louise were also swingers. They believed sex was God's way as well. So they did not believe in contraceptive. They did not believe in anything like that. They believed that sex was a beautiful thing and that God created sex and you were supposed to have sex all the time. And if you got pregnant, you got pregnant. And that is how they ended up with 13 children. So Louise actually gave birth to all these children, all 13. She was pregnant with all of them. David and Louise moved their family around a lot. That's one thing. They lived in Virginia. They moved around a lot. At first, family members thought they moved around a lot because David was always looking for work, and they thought that they just liked to travel. Well, now we know, now that the story is out, why they moved as much as they did. Because anytime anybody got an inkling of something weird going on or anything like that, they were out. They did not want CPS called on them. They didn't want the law called on them. Anytime anybody got an inkling of something might be weird, they packed up and moved. The children never went to a public school. They were always supposedly homeschooled, but we'll get into that. So David and Louise moved around their family around a lot. They lived in Fort Worth, and at that time, Louise's sister lived with them at this time. They had 4 children at this time. Louise's sister said they were very strict, more so with the oldest daughter at the time. She was always made to be in her room, only coming out to eat or do chores. Now, at the time, when they had 4 children, the oldest, mind you, wasn't like a teenager. The oldest at this time was in kindergarten. She was 5 years old. So she was made to stay in her room at all the time, only coming out to eat or do chores. The daughter was not allowed to talk to the aunt unless Louise told her she could. She wasn't allowed to sit or eat until Louise told her she could. She also said she would let the baby cry and didn't express love for any of the children. So Louise had a baby. She said that the sister said in an interview that I watched that the baby would be, she would feed the baby, she would change the baby, but there was no love and affection. You know, with a new baby, you love it and you kiss it and you hold it and you rock it and you do all those wonderful things as a mom bonding with their new baby. There was none of that. The baby would get fed, the baby would get changed, and the baby would be left in a pack and play, in a bouncy chair, anything. And if that baby cried, the aunt would go to pick her up, and Louise would yell at her and say, "Absolutely not, do not pick her up, she is fine." Louise's sister was 19 years old at the time that she was living with them. So at that time, she felt like she couldn't say anything to her sister. She did think that things were weird. She didn't think her parenting was really right. She felt like she was very strict. She said she never saw her abuse any of the children. But now looking back, abuse was in a different form. Um, like they couldn't talk unless Louise gave them the okay to talk. They could not sit without being okayed to sit. They could not, and they were locked in their room all day long, only to come out to do what Louise wanted them to do. Um, she would let the baby cry. Also, while living there, David would come into the bathroom while she was showering. She caught him spying on her while changing, and she finally moved out in like 1990. Now, this is the other thing that I found in this article. I'm going to try to play it. It's like 8 minutes long. It's really not that long, but I'm going to see if I can screen share it because I think it gives you a little insight on the sister. Louise, when she would take a shower, she would close the door, lock it, and take a shower. Louise would then come up with a coat hanger and unlock the door, and Louise and David would go into the shower and demand her to get out of the shower naked while they stood there. Now, she did say that David never sexually touched her, but she did catch him watching her and stuff. So let me see if I have it up and then I'll get more into the story, but let me see. And because I don't have 1,000 subs and everything, I don't think I'll get struck. I really don't. So let me see if I can screen share this right. Bear with me. I'm still learning screen sharing. Let's see. I think it's this. Or is it? No, it's this. Share. Okay, now I can't see the screen, guys. I'm hoping you guys will have sound. It didn't ask me to click on that. Let me know if you guys can hear sound.
Newlyweds David and Louise Turpin leave West Virginia for Texas.
Okay, so can you guys hear that? I just want to make sure before I continue more. I'll wait to see if somebody can tell me if they can hear that. Because yes, okay. All right, here we go.
Fresh start hits younger sister Elizabeth hard.
We had to take Iris away with us. And so,
Why Texas? It seems David has a job there. Elizabeth says they kept up with occasional visits back to West Virginia, and things seem okay. They acted the same way. It's here in Texas where the Turpins begin having children. And slowly, Elizabeth says visits back home stop. Contact becomes sporadic. And it was during one of those last visits, Elizabeth says, that she asked her sister a question. Elizabeth was in Texas. So imagine she says, she's not sick. Elizabeth remembers more than just the strict rules. She says the kids were long stretches of time in contact with her nieces. Another startling discovery, she says she finds Elizabeth says the Turpins adopted a type of hybrid religion. One, she makes response to this says she's allowed to leave the house only for her job. She says this is all dictated by one person, her sister, but she has also but she says when it came to her, David wasn't just a peasant.
Come in there, they wouldn't let me talk to her. So I was like, they never touched me. I want to get that on the record. David don't touch me.
Elizabeth says it becomes too much for her, and by the end of that summer, she's out of the house and, for the most part, out of the Turpin's lives.
One thing I want to make very clear: I've never seen him abuse them in any way, sexually, physically.
Louise and David continue having many more children. At some point, they choose to homeschool them.
Let me go back. Okay, so I'll add more to that, but I want to stop. Check sound. I had it all the way up. That was the other reason why I wanted to stop the screen sharing. You didn't get a notification, Sarah? It's okay. I haven't really been live that long. Ben, no way, too muggy and humid. So, I don't want to go any further because then you guys will be completely lost because I haven't gotten to that part yet. So I just wanted to show you the sister's point of view on that. So Let's continue. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't even look. Looks like my cousin. Oh, no way. It's too muggy. I'm sorry you guys couldn't. I'm sorry that it was so loud. It was hard to hear. Bummer. Because it was all the way up. Maybe because I'm low budget, as MFW would say. I don't have like mics and all that good stuff. Is that better? Yeah, because I have my headphones in. But I can't screen share and share the video through my headset. You guys wouldn't be able to hear it. So, yeah, that kind of stinks. But anyways, you guys kind of got the point, right? You guys could hear enough of it, correct? So, okay, so the sister said, basically how they were with the 4 kids. She left in like 1990. In 1991, they moved from Fort Worth to Rio. They only stayed there until 2010, but after leaving Rio, neighbors found the first signs that something's not right, but never reported it. They found feces, beds with rope tied to them, along with dead cats and piles of garbage. Yeah. Ha ha ha. So that's the second part of this video that looking all tan. I think it's because it's dark because I'm a little tan, but not too tan. I usually get darker than this, but it's been too hard. Yes, dead cats, feces, trash. There's actually videos of what the house looked like. They had human feces on the walls. They had scratch marks where at that time they thought it was animals scratching at the doors. Well, now that this has all come out, it was not animals scratching at the doors. It was the children scratching at the doors to try to get out. So I'm going to finish the end part of this video because this will show you video of what the house looked like and what the neighbors saw by living next to them. So let me screen share again. I'm not going to be able to watch chat. I'll try to get that volume up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. The volume is all the way up there. And the volume is all the way up there. This is as loud as it gets, guys.
No one really had a lot of contact with the family or the children.
And despite having a good job as a defense contractor, Lockheed Martin, the family's finances are in the red. The Turpins abandoned Fort Worth, leaving behind a swollen sea, as captured in photos by the new homeowner who was so disgusted by what he saw. Those photos for nearly 20 years. Deplorable conditions, filth, scratches on the backs of doors and walls that the new owners assume were made by animals. The Turpins moved into this house that was sprawling 36 acres in the rural Texas town of Rio Vista.
It's a town of only a couple of hundred people. It's actually hard to find on the map. Everyone pretty much knows each other.
Neighbors recall sporadic sightings and strange behavior.
Just getting concerned something's going on over there. Something's not right.
In an interview with the Daily Mail, Shelly's daughter Ashley recounts her interactions with the family.
Just normal kid stuff at first. I remember going over one day and knocking on the door and their mom being I couldn't place the kids anymore. Anytime I would go over after that, I would knock on the door and nobody would answer the door. I'd knock and nobody would answer. But I could see the baby was in a playpen in the window. She'd be there for hours, all day, all night, unsupervised.
Ashley recounts that the family kept a double-wide trailer on the property.
And then one day they moved in that double-wide trailer back there. It was further to the back. And it was like you never saw them again. As I got older, the more I realized, there are a lot of kids over there growing up or have grown up. What are they doing?
Then in 2010, once again, the Turpins' finances forced them out of their home.
The secrecy just grew. They were gone. One day they just vanished. We know that they left Rio Vista when they left everything behind and they moved to California and they moved their children there. And that's the last anyone here in Texas heard about this family.
The Turpins seemingly disappeared overnight, but they left plenty of clues behind about the time they spent cloistered in that Rio Vista property.
Well, we did go up there after they were gone because we were curious. There were bunk beds in one room, and they were all like probably 6 of them just all around. In another room, they had all these desks all lined up like a schoolroom. There was religious material that was off the wall prepared for the house was a mess.
The trailer was located right up there.
Billy Bowman bought the Turpins' house in a foreclosure sale and finds that same mess.
There's nasty stuff all over the wall.
And also some bizarre photographs.
I didn't have a Polaroid picture, but I found looking at one picture in the one bedroom. There's two beds, two single beds. It looks like, they ended up one bed. But we didn't have no idea what was going on in there. I really feel bad that something like that would happen.
All right, let me stop screen sharing. So let me put my headset back in. So that's what that my chat froze. There we go. And so let's see where I'm at. So you saw the house. That was the Rio Vista house. It actually, the house where everything came to a head was much worse than the Rio Vista house. So where were we? Let me see. Okay. So the children were, after leaving Rio, they moved to Paris, California. Living there, neighbors told that the children were pale, looked underweight. They said the children were silent and less spoken to. They would see the children would walk in a line for hours in their bedroom. So they had a big picture window in their bedroom. And at night, they had no curtains. And at night, they would have the light on, and the neighbors could see all the children, other than the baby, so 12 children, just keep walking in a straight line for hours on end. Hours on end. They would just keep walking. And they didn't know what they were doing. They thought maybe they were playing a game, but now they know that obviously it was a form of punishment for the children. So, oh, I can't smoke online. They would walk in lines for hours in their room. They also said when the kids were allowed outside, Louise would stand outside and watch them. It was not very often that the kids were allowed outside. Pretty much, the neighbors said that they would stay up all night long and sleep all day. But once in a while, Louise would let the children come out and play only in the yard. No kids could come over and play with them. They couldn't go and play in the other kids' yards. They weren't allowed to have bikes. They had no toys. They pretty much just stood in the yard. And she would stand on the porch with her arms crossed and watch them to make sure that they didn't speak to anybody, that nobody spoke to them. I'm going to turn on my porch light so you guys have better lighting. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me see. Gonna eat, love you. Oh, thank you, Mojo. It is so sad, isn't it? It's very sad. And mind you, I keep saying children, but really, there was only 7 of them were adults, but we'll get there. 7 of them out of the 10 were the age of 18 to 29, but I keep saying children because they looked like children. So They were allowed outside. Louise would stand outside and watch them. They would see the kids sometimes digging in trash bins. They also said they would sleep all day and be up all night. The kids, the children also, they didn't walk. These children never walked. They skipped. That's what everybody, all my research, all I've seen, these children never walked like we would walk, like a normal walk. They all skipped. Louise's sisters would see pictures of them on social media, and they were all happy. And as we saw, they were happy. They were in Florida. They were at Disney World. They were all dressed up. When they renewed their vows at the Elvis, they were all wearing, their dresses matched and everything. They all looked happy and healthy. But the sisters confronted Louise about the pictures and said they were worried about the weight of the children. Louise said they were fine, happy, and cut the sisters off from seeing the children. All the children were homeschooled. Well, that is what Louise told people. Even had a room made into a classroom. But Louise never did schooling with them. Never did schooling with them. They signed up in the state. They signed up in the state to do homeschooling. So David did that. David signed them up for homeschooling. Um, so nobody came out and checked, nothing. They did everything by the book to make it so nobody ever came out and nobody questioned their parenting or their children. So they did everything by the book, just like vacations. They did these vacations so they could put it on social media so it looked like they were just this happy family. They never wanted anybody coming in. Just like you heard from the sister, she couldn't even say where she lived. She wasn't even allowed to have friends over. Um, but now the children were starting to get smart. So the kids decided they were going to start planning their escape. So by 2018, the children had been planning the escape from their parents for 2 years. This wasn't a spur of the moment thing. This was not just a thought. I'm sure these children thought this, and if you watch one of the girls' videos, the one that had a phone and was on YouTube, and she would sing songs. The songs were very sad. These were songs that she wrote for herself. She wrote them herself, and you can tell now that we know their story. But it was, where is the key hidden? How come I'm not good enough? When is it ever going to end? These were the names of her songs. And if you guys Google her daughter, if you Google Turpin Family Daughter YouTube, you will find her channel and you will find where she is singing and the names of the songs. And they're very heartbreaking to hear now that we know. So on January 14th, 2018, this is the day they decided they were going to make a break for it. Two of the girls left the house through a window. It was a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old. The 13-year-old got scared and went back home, but the 17-year-old refused. She refused. She was going to keep going. She didn't care if she got caught. She didn't care if she got punished. She was determined to try to save her siblings and save herself from this house of horrors. So she kept going. She got some distance away and she used the phone that she had stolen, that she was doing her YouTube videos on. She looked up how she could, because this phone was not activated. She looked up online in their planning as a time, and she realized that she could call 911 even if she didn't have service. because she knew if she left the house, she wouldn't have Wi-Fi to be able to call. So she researched it and found out that even if she didn't have Wi-Fi, her phone would work. I'm gonna mute my camera because I need to smoke a cigarette so I don't get eaten alive. But I'm still here. So she got some distance away and she called 911 with the cell phone she had that she used to make the videos. When she called, she didn't even know her address. So when she called the police, she didn't even know her address. She didn't even know where she lived. It took the police a little while to find them because they had to ping her phone to find out her location. When the police finally found her, she was so dead set that they were not going to believe her. She was scared to death that they were not going to believe her, that she had pictures on her phone of what the house looked like. She had pictures on her phone of her siblings being chained to a bed because they used to use a rope to tie these children to the bed, but the children started breaking out of the ropes and it infuriated Dave and Louise. So they moved up to heavy chains with locks, and that's what they would use. So she showed them pictures because she didn't want them not to believe her. The deputies of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department raided the home. Now, when the 13-year-old ended up being scared and going back in, by breaking back in, she alerted Louise and David. They caught her coming back in. They asked where her sister was. The 13-year-old was scared to death, so she told her that my sister took off to call the police, and Louise and David knew right then and there that their moment of truth was over, that these police are coming in. So they started scurrying to unlock all these children. They had several that were chained to the bed, and they were unlocking all these children before the cops came, telling the kids, this is what you tell the cops. You tell the cops that you live in a good home and that you're happy and that you're well and that I feed you and I do all this. So the deputies raided the home inside, which they found the other 12 children. One was still shackled to the bed because David and Louise weren't able to get to him in time. By the time the cops came, that was one child they were not able to unhook. Let me take a minute and see if you guys are saying anything. And she's so brave, very young, smart lady. I agree. The video of the daughter above is so sad. Yes, Galloway, you did find the link. Yep, that is of her singing. Hey, Eagle. Hey, hello, Starlight, CCK 180. I am so sorry if you guys have come in and I've missed you. I'm trying to swap bugs and do this. Okay, so where was I? That shackled to the bed, and it appeared that 2 others had been shackled before police arrived. The children were so underweight that the police thought all the kids were all under the age of 18, when in fact, 7 were over the age of 18. They said the 21-year-old weighed 80 pounds. The 29-year-old was a girl. She weighed 80 pounds. A 12-year-old had the body of a 7-year-old. The 17-year-old looked like they were 10 years old. They said there was toys all around, still in packages. When asked the kids, they were told they weren't allowed to touch the toys or play with the toys. So basically, they were buying toys, putting them in the house in case somebody showed up. It looked like they had toys, but they were not allowed to touch the toys. They were still in packages. It was basically a prop. So basically, they would tease these kids with toys. Um, these parents had imprisoned, beaten, and strangled their children, allowing them to eat once per day. They were allowed to shower once a year. How heartbreaking is that? 13 children were allowed to eat once a day and were able to shower once a year. Yes, a year. Once a year, they were allowed to shower. They were allowed to wash their hands, but they were not allowed to wash their hands past their wrists. If they got caught washing their hands past their wrists, they got beaten. I don't know what the deal was on the whole you can't wash your hands above the wrist, but they were not. They were beaten if they were caught. Um, most children lacked basic knowledge of the world, like not knowing what a police officer was. These police officers came in and these kids had no clue what a police officer was. Now, this is including the 7 children or adults, let's call it as it is, these 7 adult children, 18 and up, did not even know what a police officer was. They didn't even know what medicine was or pills. The police officers asked them if they were on any medication, if they were given any pills. They had no idea what that was. None. Okay. This case is considered an extraordinary for numerous reasons, including the abuse of multiple children by both parents and the calculated and systematic nature of the abuse and torture. But for me, it was the fight, the bravery, and the willpower of these children that make this case extraordinary. I know a lot of people thought this was an extraordinary case because there was 13 kids and their parents but for me, it showed me how strong these 13 children were, what they endured day in and day out of their lives, and still lived. Jenna, read my comment. This is when it's okay, people, to call DCF. Wake up, people. Stop calling on innocent people. I agree. I agree with that. The Turpins were charged with 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse of a dependent adult, 6 counts of child abuse. David received an additional charge of an lewd act on a child under the age of 14. So for me, that seems like maybe David was doing things that he shouldn't have been. Obviously, none of it they should have been doing. But remember how we watched that video of the sister, and the sister said, he never touched her. He never touched the kids. She never saw that. Well, we know. They were held on a $12 million bail. David was eventually charged with perjury for the school, saying the kids were being schooled when they were not. So he did get charged with perjury because he did sign these kids up to go to school, and they never went to school. On February 22nd, 2019, they changed their not guilty plea to guilty. But to do that, all these charges changed. So they went from guilty to not guilty, but this is what they were found guilty of. They were found guilty of 1 count of torture, 3 counts of unwilling child cruelty, 4 counts of false imprisonment, 6 counts of cruelty to adult dependents, and they were sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Experts believe they will never get paroled due to the severity of this case. So that that kind of blows my mind that they had 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse, 6 counts of child abuse, and it went from that to 1 count of torture. Mind you, there's 13 of them. So they got charged with 1 count of torture, 3 counts of willful child cruelty, and 4 counts of false imprisonment, and 6 counts of cruelty to an adult dependent. Now, I don't agree with that because I don't think the DA should have did a plea with them. I think they had them, in my opinion, excuse my French, by the balls. But they didn't want to put the children through, which I understand that. They did not want to put the children through any more, trauma. They knew that if they brought this to trial, that these kids would have had to testify against their parents. And I get that. And I agree in that aspect. But I don't agree because of what they gave them. They actually have a chance of parole. Do they think they'll get paroled? No. But I think these people should never be able to have parole. I think they should have a life sentence without the possibility of parole, in my opinion. You're welcome, CCK. Thank you for stopping in. Does that mean, oh, I lost it. Does that mean they only have to serve half of the 25-year before being up for parole? No, Samara. They have to do the whole 25 years. That is part of their plea deal. They can't do half. They have to do the whole 25 before they get put up for parole. So good behavior, bad behavior, it doesn't matter. They have to do the whole 25. Sorry, but if I lose my job as a DA before I accepted that plea, they could have disposed at least the little ones and lessen the impact. I agree. This should he wake up call to all judges, their parents most do their best. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get that these kids and these adults have been through a lifetime of abuse and a lifetime of neglect. And I get that they don't want to. And I agree with, okay, don't give them, the whole 12 cases, but I just, of torture and all that. I agree with that. Okay, if that's what they want, they don't want to look bad on paper when they're evil regardless. I don't care if you want to make it look good on paper or not. You guys are pieces of shit. Sorry, my opinion. I just feel like they should have still got life without the possibility of parole. That's where I disagree. I would agree, don't give them as many charges or whatever, but I don't think there should have been a parole. I don't think they should have that option. There's a huge gap of disciplining your child in full-fledged abuse. I agree, Eagle. I agree with that. Hey, Batty Boop. And from what I've read, I mean, this happened in 2019. It's been a year. the younger children have been put in foster care. The older children are living in, it's like a group home type thing, and it teaches them life skills, teaching them how to do laundry, how to brush their hair, how to um all the daily things. So they took the adults and they put them in a home where they could learn the everyday and necessities of living. And the younger children have all been put in foster homes. The last report I saw, that they're all doing fantastic. All these children, these adults, there's 3 of them that are in college out of the adults. There's 3 of them that are doing college. Um, 2 of them have left that group home and are living on their own in their apartments. And the children, they kind of kept hush hush because they are minors, but they said that the children were put in foster homes and a couple of them have been adopted and they are doing well, awesome. So that is the best part of this story, is that these children have lifelong effects, not even mentally, but from malnourishment, from being tied up, from not exercise. Some of them have lifelong nerve damage. Some of them, their growth was stunted. This them being malnourished has affected their lives in another way other than just the abuse. These children, some of them, and they say the nerve damage, some of the children that had the nerve damage, it will never go away. I can't even imagine, because now these children have to look every day at themselves and know that, I mean, come on, the 29-year-old weighed 80 pounds. 80 pounds. That's insane to me. 13 children slash adults, yes. Seven out of the 13 children were actually adults. And the 29-year-old weighed 80 pounds. The 12-year-old had a body of a 7-year-old. And the 17-year-old had a body of a 10-year-old. And when they got to the hospital, there's a video of the doctors. And literally, when they got to the hospital, they put all 13 together in one room. They segregated the part of the hospital. They did not want to break these children up. These children were all they knew, and they didn't want to scare them or traumatize them anymore. So they put all the children in one room, and the doctors legit thought all these kids were kids. They couldn't even believe the 29-year-old was 29, the 22-year-old was 22, the 20-year-old, the 17-year-old, I mean, the 18-year-old, the 19-year-old. They couldn't even believe that they were that age. And there is a video of the doctors, and they said that they would cry daily. They would go in and treat them and rehabilitate them, get them strong enough so they could leave the hospital. And these doctors and nurses cried daily leaving that room because it broke their heart. And they said the best thing for them is they want success for these children. They want to come back in 5, 6 years and see where all these children are. And I would love that too. And I hope that the kids will be brave enough to actually eventually come forward and tell their side of the story. Because I mean, they did, but you want to hear the success of them. And I hope nothing but success for them. I couldn't imagine living in that house of horrors for as long as those children did. And to watch that video where they thought the claw marks were the dogs, and really it was the kids clawing their way out, trying to claw their way out, and only eating once a day. and these parents ate all the time. That was another thing that I left out. Um, they used to buy pumpkin pie, apple pie, they used to buy donuts, and they would literally put them in front of the kids and tease the kids with them. The parents would eat it and they would tell the kids they couldn't touch it. They would sit there and eat big meals. Um, Louise and David would eat big meals and make their children watch, and then they would give them the scraps, the leftovers. Absolutely, Jenna. I would love to hear they're all doing really well. If anything additional help could be given if they weren't at this point. I agree. Isn't that horrible? It is awful. Hey, Molly. It is unforgivable. Oh my God, I'm getting eaten alive. I gotta move. We're going for a walk, guys. I gotta go inside. Whew. I am getting bit up. I'm not gonna stay live much longer, but I just wanted to chit chat with you guys for a minute, be able to talk about this case, and then I'm getting off. Oh, oh, okay. Let's see. It's unforgivable. How in the world did these two people find each other? Like I said, they found each other when in high school, in church. Louise was 10 and David was 16. And then Louise got married to David when she was 16 and he was 23. I just don't know how it didn't get reported sooner, but they were very clever. They knew when to move. They knew when they would get weird feelings that people were getting too nosy. They would pack up and move in the middle of the night. And how many cases have we seen child abuse where that has happened? Where when you find out about these cases, it's that these people moved constantly. They would just pack up in the middle of the night. You would go to bed one night, wake up, and the whole house would be left behind, and all these people were gone. It reminds me of another case of these kids were adopted, and this is from two mothers. They adopted their kids. They used to go to rallies and everything. They were kind of like the Turpins, really. They were in social life and they ended up driving their car off a cliff, and I believe in California, and killing them all. I forgot the name of that case. But when I hear about the Turpin case, it reminds me of that case. And I can't remember the name of it. Jenna, you are excellent at this, so much better than any case PQ has covered, let alone any crime video story she's ever told. That she calls you the C word on a daily and speaks volumes. She knows too. Thank you so much, Monique. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoy crime and I really enjoy cases. And and I put a lot of thought and I try to get the most research and not just read to you guys. I see a lot of people that just read and I want a little different spin. So I appreciate all you guys coming in and supporting me and telling me I'm doing a good job. It does kill me too, Molly. It is. It's horrible. It reminds me of the heart case too. Yes, Samara, that too. And to know everybody, the next case I am working on is the catfish love triangle case. And that is about a Marine that was catfished and murdered. And that is the next case I'm working on. I have been touching on it. I'm hoping to be able to go live on that case. I'm hoping what's today? Monday. I'm hoping maybe by Friday, I'll be able to go live with that case. So please be on the lookout for that. Then, oh my God, it's about me. I'm a catfish. We're all catfishes. Jenna, you were a bomb. Thank you, Eagle. Okay, everybody, I am going to get off. And thank you guys for all being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. If you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't hit the link, please hit the link. And I hope you guys all have a fabulous week. Please stay healthy, stay happy, and stay you. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good night. Bye.